Hooey, lads. This is the big kahuna. Hmm. Dead Cells is a good one. Let's just do Dead Cells. I know Dead Cells. Ow. Oh fuck. I can't believe you've done this. Fucking hell. Pardon the noise. Sound. Alright. Recording now. Um, how to start? I'll do the tally-ho thing. Tally, tally-ho, lads! It's me, your old boyfriend. Today I'm playing some Dead Cells. Dead Cells. Yep. It's a fun game. It's rogue light platforming. Fun. Let's play, and then you can see instead of me, droning on about it. Definitely recommended. Oh fucking hell! What? What the fuck? Oh jeez, Louise! I just got a pop-up. Windows color scheme? What the fuck are you talking about? Windows arrow color scheme? What the fuck? If that messes up my recording, I swear to God, someone's gonna pay. I'm gonna get Linux. Fucking Windows, am I right? Windows color scheme, what the fuck is that? Okay, so I have played about 18 hours of this game. Haven't got super far. I've unlocked a few things though. Um, and there's actually a really big update just recently. Um, and so I don't even oh shit. Oh fuck. Sorry. What was I saying? There's a big update recently. Why is that on Y? Can I change that? There we go. Big update recently that has made a lot of changes to the combat system. Um, and I haven't really played it at all, really. I did play a little bit, so I'm slightly familiar with it, but then I think that they made even more changes since I've played that little bit a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, it's brand new. Brand new combat system. I don't know what to say about it yet. I haven't really experienced enough of it to have an informed opinion. Um, I know that I really love the way that it was before. I didn't feel like it needed any changes, but I think this has made it a little less simplistic. Um, and I trust the devs on this one. Um, it's an early access game, which I usually don't support. But the devs on this one have been really faithful. They release updates when they say they will, and they listen to community feedback too, without betraying their original vision. Which I think is important. You take community suggestions and stuff, but you don't. It's not all fan service. Take the things that can work and that actually improve the game, but not just pander to your fans. And I think that they're really making good use of the whole early access thing. Um, such to say that it's not all. The advantage of early access potentially is so that you can simultaneously get funding, but also improve your product over time. And you get play testing and community feedback, and all of that's important. Ooh, what is that thing? I don't think I've ever seen that before. It's real expensive, but I want it. Hunter's grenade. Throw this grenade at a monster to aggravate it a little. Aggravate it a little. Beat it down to 40% less health, then use the blueprint extractor on the monster to obtain a blueprint from it. What the fuck? Oh, what the fuck's a blueprint extractor? Maybe if I throw it, then I get a Huh? Oh man, this is confusing. Okay, maybe it's like a two-tiered thing, so I need the blueprint extractor too. Anyway, I think this game is, despite the fact I don't usually support early access because it turns out a lot of crap, but these guys have definitely shown that they're committed, and honestly, it's a great game as it is. Definitely worth the money, so that's important, I think, as well. Because really, here's the thing about early access. And about DLC. You know what? I want to talk about that too. After this whole EA debacle, which really upset a lot of people, and early access kind of ties into this too. I've thought about this for a while. My opinion on it, on early access, let's start with that, is that you, at the time of buying it, you must evaluate whether the product currently offered is worth the money for it. Because you don't know for sure if the devs are going to drop this project. There's no guarantee. When you buy an early access game, actually I'll get that ice grenade because I don't have another one. I have a free slot. But when you buy something in early access, man, you gotta look at the product as it is and decide if it's worth your money. Is Dead Cells worth the $15 that I paid for it at the time of its release? Yeah, I believe it was. And one issue would be, how do you evaluate the potential value of a product before you even have a chance to play it? Well, that's a fair point, except nowadays there's so much game journalism, so many reviews, coverage of new games, and all over YouTube. And not to mention Steam's pretty generous refund policy. You have 2 hours that you can play a game before you're unable to refund it. So, and you can get a fairly good grasp for most games in about an hour. I have no idea where I'm going. Let's go downwards. So there's really no excuse as far as how can I determine whether this is worth my time or not? And you know what? If you're in doubt, just don't do it. If you don't think it's going to be worth your money, then just don't do it. It's as simple as that, really. But I digress. But anyway, I'm not inherently against early access nor DLC. And the reason is that you as a consumer need to make an informed decision as to whether or not it is worth your money in the state that it is. And with early access, I suggest that you never buy it or assess the value of it with the thought that it will be changed or improved. I think you should take it for what it is at the time and whether it's worth your money that way. I don't know if I should have left. I should have checked the map. Oh well. But that way, even if... Oh, what the fuck is this? Why is it... What? Oh man, they totally changed this menu. Fucking hell. Stock exchange, ceiling turret. Yeah, there's not a lot here. I guess I think you have to unlock stuff now with like the blueprint thing. What the fuck is this? Mutations. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. I think they replaced the whole like necklace thing and with this maybe. this is cool. But yeah, I like this. I'll take the tactics. I have quite a few purple items. That's pretty sweet. So one thing that I like about this game is I don't know if you read through those mutations there. Really, they most items have really big changes to stats. You know, it's not just minuscule things. That being said, you can't get screwed in a run just by bad RNG stuff. I think it's all the things really play well together and create a large variety of different kinds of play styles depending on what you get. But you're never shit. You're never at such a huge disadvantage because of RNG, really. Just my opinion. And you really feel like a powerful character. Most of the items you get are pretty fun, pretty cool. So, okay, fucking hell. Oh, God. What was I talking about? Oh, so, early access, here's the thing. It's like, so many games are early access these days. You really gotta be careful about who you give your money to. And I would very much suggest that you don't, even if you trust the developer or whatever, there's no point in giving them your money, just to have a sneak peek at the game, It's like, wait until the game is finished, unless it's worth your money at the time. Because then even if the devs totally quit the project, you still got your money's worth according to your own assessment of it, I mean, that's still shitty practice from developers, but at least you got your money's worth. And really, that's all it really comes down to, right? I mean, it's debatable, I guess, but... fucking hell. And as far as DLC goes, okay. So, what was the deal with EA? Oh, and microtransactions, too. I need to talk about that as well. So EA had this, I mean, obviously you know about the EA crap with the new Star Wars game, and it's like so many in-game hours required. I can't remember exactly what it was to unlock a character, but through microtransactions you could purchase them, and a lot of people were upset because, like, hey, I'm paying $60 for a full-price title. I should get all of the content available with it. Okay. I agree with that. However, I don't think it's immoral of a company to sell something. I don't think that that's really possible. Companies sell what they sell, and it's up to you to buy them or not, depending on what they're selling and for how much. I don't see it as a crime against humanity, microtransactions. It's not inherently morally evil, I don't think. It's just a facet of a game. But the thing is, before you go and buy Battlefront, I mean, for God's sakes, the coverage on that was insane. You clearly know what you're getting into. So if you bought it with the knowledge of the microtransactions contained in it. Unless you pre-ordered it, which I'm highly, highly against. There's no reason why you should pre-order. Early access is a different thing. With early access, you're paying to get a product ahead of time, but a product nonetheless. And like we said, as long as you're buying what you believe is worth your money, then you're not getting fucked over. With pre-ordering, though, you're getting nothing except for stupid pre-order bonuses, which really isn't. Well, okay. Again, it's not exactly immoral for companies to do it. That looks like a rose up there, but I think I need some sort of like wall jumping power, maybe. Looks cool. Reminds me of Dark Tower. Anyway. I'm trying to get my point across here, but so the thing about microtransactions in a $60 game, mind you, that puts you off, especially ones where you can buy more powerful items, more powerful characters. Like, there should not be pay to win in a $60 game, so you say. And if that is your belief, then you simply don't buy the game, you know? And I mean, you're free to rant and rave, but it's just not. It's silly to get mad about it. Really, because just don't buy it. If it's not worth your money, then don't purchase it. And before you buy something that's potentially worth $60, and if that's a lot of money to you, do your frickin' research before you buy it. Don't, pre-order on the pretense of getting extra in-game like cosmetics. And I guess if you have the money to spare, you could pre-order a game, and then as long as you could get a refund for it once it comes out, then as long as you don't go over 2 hours of playtime on Steam. It depends on your platform, you might not have the ability to refund it, but there's really there's no harm in pre-ordering as long as you look at the game for what it is once it does come out, and then decide if you want to refund it or not. So and then you get the pre-order bonuses anyway, if you really wanted them, like whatever the cosmetics are. So I guess all facets of pre-ordering aren't terrible. So yeah, that I guess that's really my recommendation. If you want the pre-order bonus crap for whatever reason, just wait to play the game, or do whatever you need to do to be able to refund it still if it turns out to be absolute crap. Because otherwise you're just, paying money for an inferior product. Now, one potential harm of pre-ordering is you're giving money to the company before they release a product, so the end product might not be as good because they already have the money for it, basically. So but as far as refunds go, as long as you have the ability to refund, I don't think it's a big deal, because that company will have to pay it back. And in that way, companies learn their lessons if they do something to really screw over the consumer. And that's what it's all about, really. We should protect consumers' rights. Now, as far as do microtransactions violate a consumer's rights or hurt the consumer? Well, if you're not able to refund it, I think definitely. If that's something that you don't want in your game, and you feel like you've gotten cheated, that's terribly anti-consumer. However, I think in this day and age, it's pretty easy to do the research you need to figure out if a game contains something that you don't want like that in it. Okay. Now, as for whether it's worth your money, here's what I believe. You need to look at the value of the game as it is, without any of the microtransaction stuff. Look at the core gameplay that you get, the experience of the multiplayer, of the single player, of everything that makes the game, everything that you're getting for the amount of money that you're putting down. And if it is worth the asking price, then it doesn't matter if there are microtransactions. Now, bearing that in mind, microtransactions could ruin some aspects of the game, such as multiplayer. Imagine if you could buy the most expensive items and become insanely overpowered in multiplayer. That's no fun for anybody. But you need to take that information into account when you're deciding if the game is worth $60 to you. So, you're basically saying, is the multiplayer any good? And you're reading reviews, and they say, well, you have a bunch of these overpowered guys who probably shield out a bunch of money to get that strong, and then you say, okay, well, is this game really worth $60? No, probably not at all. And then you don't buy it. You know, it's as simple as that. So should we demonize corporations for doing this? No, I don't think so. I think we should make more informed decisions as consumers, and that will then reflect the business practices, because if they're not making money, then something changes. But if they're continuing to make money hand over fist, then nothing is going to change. So, and here's the thing about microtransactions. They too could be worth the money, potentially, to somebody. And you need to evaluate the content of each one. And the same goes for DLC. So if imagine EA released, imagine they did something different and they released Star Wars Battlefront 2, but as DLC, every single map was a separate DLC. So you could pay, say, $10 to get the core game and one multiplayer map, and then pay $5 after that for every map included therein. A similar kind of thing is done in Rainbow Six Siege, I believe, where you can pay for individual operators. You can pay the full $60 price for the whole thing, and you get all the characters, or you can pay a slightly less price and get only a few of the characters, and then unlock more as you go along for money. Is that a bad business model? I don't think so. But again, I think it's up to you, the consumer, to decide. If EA were to release one map each for $5 or whatever instead of one big game, you would need to look at the content of each DLC before you buy it and decide if it's worth your money or not. Now, I know that puts a lot of decision making on the consumer, and honestly, it should be. In this day and age, you need to be educated about what you're buying, because there's rampant advertising is like such a big industry, and it can be very deceiving. And so I think it's really important in all aspects of being a consumer to be as informed as you possibly can be when it comes to buying things, because you can really get screwed just by shady advertising tactics and stuff. But again, because of the internet, because of the modern age that we live in, it's not that hard to educate yourself, and in some cases it can be fun. I know a lot about recent game releases from watching YouTube videos, and some of those content creators I really enjoy. I enjoy watching them play. So for me, it's an enjoyable experience anyway. Something to keep in mind as you make informed decisions. But anyway, I don't agree with the demonization, saying, "Oh, these companies are so terrible." Oh, how could you have microtransactions in a fully priced game? Well, it's their decision as a company and as marketers to do that, okay? And they can charge consumers for that if they want. And if you don't like it, then don't buy the game. And I know that sounds a little bit kind of almost cruel, and I want you to know that my thought is always to benefit us as the consumers, instead of the corporations. I think that we should be able to get our money's worth on the things that we buy. Ooh, excuse me. In video games and in everything else. Because we work hard for our money, damn it. 40 hours a week. That's nothing to shake a stick at. That's a significant portion of your life goes to making money. Yeah. So, but yeah, as far as gosh, I don't know. It's like And of course, I mean, as far as freedom goes, yeah, you're free to rag on EA or whatever, and be angry. I guess I don't like anger. I don't like all the hate and the negativity. And I mean, you think about EA and you picture this, big fat corporation stuffing their pockets full of your money and laughing maniacally. I really don't think that they're as evil as that. And I don't think it really pays to think that way. I think a lot of them are working 9 to 5 just like us. And they're marketers and executives. And yeah, I mean, a lot of them are quite a lot richer than us. But really, that just comes down to jealousy. I don't want to support hating anybody or hating anything. It's just not good for your soul to be upset and angry. Just I don't think it should bother us that much. If a game is shitty and has shitty microtransactions and isn't fun, then we just shouldn't buy it. We shouldn't waste our time or money on it. And I know that a lot of it's fueled by disappointment. Cause gosh, I mean I've been disappointed with games before, and it really sucks when you're waiting for this big sequel that you're a huge fan of and then they bugger it up. I can understand that, but it's not a corporation's duty to uphold your particular tastes when it comes to their products. Unfortunately, it'd be nice, but it's not a corporation's sacred duty to uphold that. Elite archers are a total pain in the ass, so I'm going to avoid that. It's like as I know it sounds does sound kind of cynical, but I just don't think that you should get your hopes up that high before a product comes out. And I think you miss out on a lot of good stuff that way, and I think you exacerbate the negatives that way when you get super hyped and the whole hype train thing. It's a mindset, and it's a mindset that I believe that we can change by actively not jumping on the hype train, looking at it calmly, still being excited for it, but just be realistic, Like, I'm excited for the new season of One Punch Man, because it was one of my favorite animes of really ever, and I think it's hilarious. It's an awesome satire. But here's the thing: the new season is being made by a different company, and I really have no idea if it's gonna suck total ass or not. So instead of getting super excited for it and like, oh my god, I can't wait, and losing sleep over it, I'm just going to play it by ear and say, if it sucks, that's too bad, but, it's not the end of the world. And, when it probably turns out to be about average and not necessarily, it's definitely not going to be better, but, well, I can't say for certain, obviously. I'm assuming it's going to be maybe a little bit worse off, probably not as visually spectacular, and, maybe some of the jokes won't land as well, and maybe it'll outstay its welcome a little bit. And I'm not going to be super salty about it or anything. I'm just going to accept it as, that's just how it is. And I just think that that's a good way to be. And that's the only reason that I'm even talking about it or thinking about it. I just think that, you have to be happy in life from other sources than entertainment. And you can't place such great importance on it, I don't think, either. And getting so upset and angry when it doesn't pan out to be the way that you want it. It's a sad truth, and but the thing is, we can, as consumers, we can change it for the better, for the future, by making these informed decisions, by being well educated, and not, your money is the power here. Uh, and yeah, so as long as the majority, you're basically voting with your wallet. As long as the majority supports your cause and doesn't buy the things that they don't think deserve to be bought, then corporations will change because they need to make money to stay afloat. It's almost like evolution, survival of the fittest type of stuff. So, and sometimes you don't agree with the majority. For example, here's an instance which really kind of spited me. I was super jazzed for Fallout 4, because Fallout New Vegas, it's my favorite game of all time, and every game that I've ever played after Fallout New Vegas, I've compared to Fallout New Vegas, and I've tried to find games that scratch that similar itch. There's something about Fallout that I love. It just hits all the spots for me. It has, most of all, character creation, which is a huge thing for me. I really love the ability to make cool and interesting characters and give them my own little backstories. One reason I love Fallout New Vegas and not Fallout 3 so much, as far as Fallout 3 and New Vegas go, I've probably played 10 times as much New Vegas as Fallout 3. And that's because Fallout 3 forces a backstory on you. You're the son of this vault dweller, and that's who you are. Fallout New Vegas, your only backstory you have really is that you're a courier, a mailman. But even that is, it's loosely related, really. It's not like that's your identity. You're not forced to play as a mailman, really. There's not even a whole lot of references to it. So I keep thinking I have an ice grenade, but it's the ceiling turret. So big thing for me, character creation. I love coming up with characters and, importantly, giving them their own little backstories. And I love the stat system. It's simplistic, sophisticated enough, but also simplistic enough, and it's easy to understand. So when you put 10 points into strength, you are a big, macho, beefy character. That's just who you are. And if you put 10 into perception, you're this keen-eyed, just crazy, detective or something. Or if you put 10 in intelligence, you're a super genius. Or if you are put 5 in everything, you're jack of all trades. Or if you put 10 in luck and 0 in intelligence, you're this bumbling fool who always makes it through somehow. And I just love that combination. You can make any character under the sun, You think of any character in any sort of fiction, and you can assign them a set of the special stats like they have in Fallout. That's what I love. It's like, you know what? I am gonna get an ice grenade because I find them useful, and I'll sell that ceiling turret. Oh, it disappeared. Never mind. So I love the I love that. Do you see what I mean? If you can take any character that you can think of, say gosh, I don't know, Roland from the Dark Tower, and say you wanted to make him in Fallout. You think of who Roland is as a character, and you can assign him where he'd be on the special scale. Almost sounds like autism spectrum or something, but so Roland, he's not particularly strong, but he's incredibly perceptive, super agile, and really quick. And another thing that I like about Fallout that plays to that is the trait system. So depending on your specials, you'll get different kinds of traits to unlock. Like, for example, quick hands, perfect trait for Roland. Ladies man, perfect trait for Eddie or for any other character. So all these little traits add to your character creation as well. And what's fun is when you're playing through the game as a character that you create, and you see a trait that totally matches them. You're like, oh, that is so my character, and you add that to them, and then and it affects the gameplay too. So to me, it's this perfect mesh of storytelling with really fun gameplay and awesome story and exploration. And that to me just ticks all the boxes. I love being able to explore, create characters, live in this world, and it has high replayability for me too, because as you play as different characters, you play in different play styles. Okay, so bearing all that in mind, all those things that I love, enter Fallout 4. I got super jazzed for Fallout 4, and I had been looking forward to the new Fallout game ever since I've played Fallout New Vegas. So I was very jazzed, and I totally got on. What the fuck was that? I totally got on the hype train for sure. Yeah, that just teleports you to the back because you can't get there otherwise. So my disappointment came when, because I was expecting, foolishly, because it was made by Bethesda, not Obsidian. Actually, it might have been made by a different contractor by Bethesda. I'm not sure. Fallout 4, I mean. But I expected Fallout 4, or I expected Fallout New Vegas, but with increased visuals, a new story, a new place to explore. But otherwise the same thing. The ability to create characters with any backstory, the all that really cool stuff that I mentioned earlier that I can't remember, but with an updated engine and a new place to explore and new weapons and stuff. So I was sad. I mean, I was pretty disappointed with what we got. It was the RPG elements were scaled way back. Of course, there was a very strict story. You couldn't really make any old character fit in there at all. You had to play to this very strict set of rules where you're a parent looking for a son. So that immediately closes a bunch of doors as far as character creation goes. And then you got frickin' voice protagonist. And I have to admit, the voice that they chose was good in that no matter who I played as, skin color, facial structure, whatever, even like scars and stuff, or like old or young, the voice always seemed to kind of match up pretty well. So I have to admit that is a little bit impressive. I think that they had a really good choice of voice actor. Ooh, and the lines were voiced well. Here's the thing. They should have included an option to turn it off because it messes with the storytelling aspect and the role-playing aspect, because now you're suddenly stuck as this one character. And that's not what Fallout's been about, Really really only Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 force you into a specific role. All the other ones let you create these cool characters. So it's kind of unique to Bethesda's stuff, unfortunately. Where was I going with this? I don't fucking know. Oh, so yeah, Fallout 4 was disappointing for me, and I'd gotten so hyped up, and that was another problem. Really, the weapon variety in the game I was excited about because of the creation aspect, where you could create your own weapons, but it turned out to be a massive disappointment because there were only a very small set of actual weapon variety. There's like the pipe weapons, which are basically fucking everywhere. There's like assault shotguns, the next tier of assault rifle, and then, you know, really, I mean, not on par with New Vegas at all. They kind of relied on the whole weapon building aspect to make up for the fact that there was so little weapon variety, which didn't really work, in my opinion. I thought it was cool at first, but you quickly realize, you know, like, where's all the fun stuff? Like, and where's all the variety? Like, in Fallout New Vegas, you had a whole bunch of really unique and cool guns, and, like, really interesting things. You know, interesting takes on different kinds of weapons and variations on that and stuff, but in Fallout New Vegas, really not so much. There's the cryolator, that's about the only thing I can think of that was really unique. Yeah, so, and as far as story goes, well, how do I rank Fallout 4 story? Gosh, I don't even know. Compared to New Vegas, I mean, it was pretty terrible. Really, I mean, I haven't played it in a while, so I can't say for sure. I think it was quite formulaic. Really nothing surprising or interesting. I mean, in Fallout New Vegas, you had all these warring clans, and you could make so many different decisions regarding every single one. You had a lot of freedom of choice. In this one, you basically have like 3 endings to choose from, and it's all very one-sided. Like, you can tell that the developers are kind of biased as to who's in the right and who's in the wrong. Whereas in New Vegas, I guess in New Vegas you can say the same thing. I mean, Caesar's pretty clearly evil, but you know, it's hard to say. I can't really think about it clearly enough right now to give you an exact opinion. But my whole point with this was, you know, don't fall for the hype. Wait for it to come out before you make a decision about it. You know? Yeah. Don't pre-order. Don't pre-order unless you have the ability to get it refunded if you don't like it, because you might be wasting your money. I guess the exception would be if you really, really love a particular development team and you want to support them early on, and they're like a small one that actually need your financial support in the beginning. I guess then it's okay. But that's like a really specific circumstance, and you'd have to really trust the devs to do that, because you're basically giving them free money. You're like an angel investor, but you don't get any actual reward for your investment. So yeah, that's my stance on pre-ordering and DLC and stuff. I think if it's worth the money at the time, then it's just plain worth the money, and that's the whole point. You know, so evaluate it that way, and make smart decisions. You know, think about what you're buying. Man, I just love gushing about Fallout New Vegas because I love it so much. If anybody watching who is not me, which is, you know, gonna be very few people, I imagine, I hope even, because, you know, if you've watched to this point and you're not me for some bizarre reason, you should know I make these for myself to watch later, for the most part, because I like to see how my mind changes. I like to see where I was at in certain opinions and in certain ways, and I know it sounds vain, but honestly, I find myself really enjoyable to listen to. I know that sounds like conceited as fuck, but I don't know, there's just something about it that I really enjoy. Like, I'll watch back my videos and I'll just think, maybe it's because I agree with myself on everything that I say, or maybe I just find my own sense of humor funny, but I don't know, yeah, there's something I really like about it. So I record these videos for myself, primarily. I make them public because, you know, this is new. I haven't seen this. This is cool. So now you have the ability to upgrade. Well, you actually had this ability before, really. Um, but they've probably changed it up. And now you actually have to get past the first boss to do it. That's cool. I kind of like this. Because it gives you more specialization. So if you like one particular weapon, you can put a lot of money into that one. I happen to like the infantry bow quite a lot, and I happen to have one with me, so I might put it into that for now. So the collector now looks like is just involved in upgrades regarding like gameplay and stuff, and the blacksmith upgrades the actual weapons. So cool beans. That's good to know. Yeah. Anyway, I was saying I record these for myself to watch back, and I make them public just because, you know, if there's someone else whose brain resonates with this for whatever reason, and they want to watch it, then, you know, more power to them. And we should have a beer sometime, because I'd like to get to know you. You clearly have a similar frame of mind to me. Yeah, anyway. I don't have a lot of friends either, so, you know, if anyone's watching this and wants to hit me up. Oh, excuse me. That's cool with me, man. I like Breaking Bad, I like The Office, I like funny stuff. I find that trying to share new shows with friends is always kind of awkward and doesn't really work out very well. Because, like, you'll just be sitting there kind of anticipating their reactions to everything and, like, hoping that they find it funny. Otherwise, they'll think that you're, like, a crazy person. You know? It's like, I think I tried to show a friend of mine The Office one time. At the time, it was my all-time favorite show. And I found it hilarious. And so I just picked a random episode. And I just remember thinking, like, man, these jokes really aren't as funny as I thought they were. And I was getting nervous, because, like, oh shit, like, is this really... Another good example is, I like YouTube poop quite a lot. Just because they're so random and weird, and I really like that kind of humor. And the thing is, I've watched a lot myself, and one time I tried to show one to my brother, and I don't really know what his reaction was to it. I thought it was really funny, so I put it on to share. And it was really not as funny as I remember. Or maybe I just couldn't find it funny in the company. I'm not sure why, but, like, some of the jokes came across as lame to me, or, like, not like, I don't know, like, not savvy, not like cool, you know, kind of like lame, like old, outdated memes or something. And of course, I don't give a shit about any of that myself. So when I was watching it, I was cracking up and just, like, laughing at the absurdity of it all. But when I showed it to someone else and I'm, like, anticipating their reactions, I'm thinking about how they're potentially judging it. It's weird, that, you know? That kind of, the expectation of them to find it funny kind of makes it not funny for yourself. I don't know why that is exactly, but I've learned that it's really just a fact of it's just a fact. So, you know, you either live with it or you don't. So I don't really show things that I find funny to anybody unless they also find it funny themselves, having watched it themselves. You know, otherwise it's just embarrassing. And I hate to say it, but I feel the same way when a friend tries to show me something. You know, I'll feel like if a friend once tried to show me a funny band that he liked, And I all the time I was thinking of what he was thinking about when I should laugh, when I was expected to, you know, find something funny, etc. I don't know. Maybe it's just me that, you know, or maybe it's only certain people that put that kind of expectation on themselves or on others, or like really care what people think. I I don't like to think that I care what people think about me, but at the same time, I'm mindful about how people perceive me, I suppose, and I want people to like me, obviously. Um, I don't just not total. I don't not like give any kind of shit. I do care a little bit at least. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know if it's. I mean, post in the comments. Do you feel the same way about sharing stuff with friends? Do you not have that kind of expectation? Do you just have fun? I think it's different if you have like a really good friend potentially. And maybe the first couple episodes are awkward, but then you kind of get past that pretty quick, and you both just enjoy it. And you can pick up on their social cues a bit easier as well, because you know them well. So you know that they're having fun. And I mean, drugs and a beer would probably help as well. Smoke a little weed or have a couple of pints. Probably make the situation a lot more relaxed and fun, for me at least. But I've never had occasion to try. So if you're looking for a new friend in the Peoria area and you want to get drunk or high and watch some funny shit with me, I am totally down, my friend. Hit me up. For real. That's not, that's not sarcasm. For real. I would drive 2 hours to someone's house to do that. If someone contacts me on YouTube and you live 2 hours away from Peoria, Illinois, I will drive to your house to have a good time, to relax. I'll bring pizza, etc. So if you live anywhere in that vicinity, let me know. And if it's over 2 hours, maybe we can work something out. I don't know. If you've watched this far, you're clearly someone that I'd like to get to know better, because you have, I don't know, you're either a masochist or you somehow enjoy what I'm talking about, in which case I really want to get to know you, so, yeah, kind of random. Oh shit, oh man, I'm fucked! Ah, fuck. I was trying to climb down the chain, but I was against the fucking thing. Well, shit. Yeah, that was a pretty good run. Not exactly like paying a whole bunch of attention, and I actually managed to beat the boss. I got at least one new blueprint. I can't remember what it was. Let me think for a minute about what I'm actually doing here, and we'll continue on. I think, because we've only recorded like 40 minutes maybe. If the video fucked up from the beginning, I'm gonna be really angry. Then again, almost nothing I'm saying pertains to the video, so I suppose it doesn't matter. Let's see. What can we talk about further? I'm curious. Because, like, we've talked about the DLC thing, and I invited you over for a beer. If you have weed, by the way, I'll drive at least 4 hours. To any law enforcement watching this, for whatever frickin' reason, I'm not condoning smoking weed. It's just a joke. Yeah, just a total joke. I've never done illegal drugs. If they become legal, though, I'll be all over that shit. Yeah, you better bet your ass. And here's something interesting. If you live in Illinois, around March, there's going to be a vote on potentially legalizing recreational use for marijuana in March this year, which is cool. And I'll be almost 21 at that time, So even better, perfect timing. Well, I've waited all this time. I would really, really like that. Weed is such a funny thing, you know? It's like... Now look, I know people go on about how it's like a miracle plant. I don't really believe in that. It definitely has medical benefits though. And I'm not a big conspiracy nut, but I definitely know that there has been efforts by big pharmacy corporations to hamper the progress of legalizing it. And you know, I mean, there's documentation of bribes and shady politics, etc. So I think it definitely is a thing, and it definitely has medical benefits, you know. That should really be able to be explored, but we can't because it's illegal. And you know, the whole war on drug thing is just bollocks. But, and it creates more problems than it solves, generally speaking. I'm not condoning that you go out and do heroin or anything. Weed, however, in my experience, I mean, it has the potential to be very spiritual, and at its most damaging, you know, at its very most damaging, like, is paranoia / lung damage. Really no psychological damaging effects at all. In fact, I think it really helps to open your mind about things. Kind of strips back the ego a bit. And I know that sounds like a hippie thing to say, but I think it's true, you know. Should you rely on drugs for that? No, I think you should, excuse me, spend time through meditation, through self-reflection, through learning about yourself just through your life, and you know, always taking the time to look at yourself objectively, as objectively as possible. But drugs can really help with that. You know, it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day life and the society that we live in, and that's just a part of the life that we live, and you know, in the world that we live in. It's easy to get caught up in a routine, to fall into a rut. You know, our bodies aren't designed to be so sedentary. You know, depression is a big issue because, you know, people don't exercise, they don't get that natural endorphins and, you know, dopamine, and I mean, there are medical reasons for depression too, but I think a lot of people that suffer from, not depression, I'm not saying that depression can be cured with exercise, because I don't believe that that's the case. True clinical depression, you know, because that's a problem with your brain, where it's not making the correct chemicals. But I think a lot of cases of people that are just unhappy with life can be solved through, you know, eating well and getting exercise, because that's what our bodies naturally crave. You know, our ape bodies are, you know, I mean, that's just evolution. Happiness is a feeling caused by surviving naturally. So being fit, being active are all things that make you happy, because, you know, that's how we've survived up to this point. But in our modern lifestyles, that's no longer a priority. You know, you can be successful without being active or strong or fit. But our bodies still crave that. That's the problem. So that's the disconnect between us and society. You know, we have our physical ape descended bodies that don't necessarily don't necessarily. What's the verb form of a shit? Now I can't even think of the word. Compatible. What's the verb form of compatible? So we're not necessarily compatible. I don't fucking know. I'm gonna die. Oh fucking hell! Shouldn't have gone to the sewers. They're harder than I remember. But you know, just the way that we live is generally not the way that we lived before. What the fuck am I even saying? I won't pretend like some drugs weren't involved in the making of this video. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No illegal drugs here. Actually, there really isn't anything illegal. There is something kind of druggy, though. But I won't tell you what it is, because that could cause complications. Anyway. What was I talking about? Frickin'... I love this big sword. It's really cool. But you know, okay, so, yeah, what I was saying. The happiness is a warm gun. You know, and, the thing about drugs is you get caught up in this in our society, in our ruts, in our schedules, in our routines, and it's easy to get lost in that. Obviously, for anybody, you know. What drugs do, I think, is put you in a different frame of mind, where you can look at the world differently. You don't have to look through your jaded kind of eyes anymore. To where, you know, you're so used to everything, how can you look at it in any other way? Well, drugs kind of help you do that. Certain ones. And I think weed's a big one. You know, there's tons of different kinds, but I think many kinds help you to look at the world in a different way, which I think is really important to understanding the world and being happy. Honestly, I think it's very important. And so in that way, drugs can help with that, and they can make you happy. But I think it's important when you do weed or whatever, once it's legal, you don't do it exclusively for, you know, sitting on the couch and eating a bag of Cheetos and Doritos and watching cartoons. That's perfectly fine to do that and to have fun. But really, I think it's important to appreciate what they can do for you as far as insight into your life. I think that's a big thing. It's important, you know. I really think it is. Yeah. And in that way, I mean, drugs definitely aren't evil. Marijuana, fuck, I mean, I think it's safer than alcohol, chemically speaking, and it does more for you than alcohol does. I've been drunk, and, you know, being drunk is not really, I wouldn't call it introspective. Although it can be. You can use drunkenness as what we talked about, as a way to view the world differently and try and get some insight onto things. But I don't think it works as well as weed. I think it slows down your brain activity, and your just your general thinking. I think it slows it down more than it. I think that weed kind of tends to excite it and makes you think about things more, rather than not thinking about things, kind of turning your brain off. I think being drunk kind of makes you rely on your natural kind of instincts rather than your rather than your brain. You know, kind of like your just reactions. I might be wrong on that. Feel free to disagree and tell me what you think about the whole issue. But I think marijuana does a better job, and it's safer. I mean, for God's sakes, booze is it's clearly bad for your liver. I mean, in moderate amounts, it's fine, but as far as actual long-term damage, I don't think that weed actually does cause anything. Uh, I may be wrong on that point, obviously, and I don't want to speak out of turn. But the breaking down of alcohol is a liver-intensive task, and it can lead to cirrhosis in extreme cases. Marijuana, of course, if you smoke it, can cause lung damage. In fact, sometimes more than cigarettes if you smoke it a lot because you smoke it without a filter. But there's other ways to consume it, you know, edibles, vaporization even is probably less harmful, although, you know, the jury's still out on that. It's hard to say what the long-term health benefits of vaping are going to be. Less than cigarettes? Probably. However, there's something... Wow, that killed me fast. Fucking hell. I think I had ×2 damage on. I'm not sure where I got that from. Oh well. Start again. Anyway, as far as vaping goes, it's hugely popular. There's something dodgy to me about putting vapor into your lungs that has flavoring and chemicals that, I mean, they could very potentially be harmful or carcinogenic, and it's too early to tell because, you know, it's a new thing. We don't know what the long-term effects are going to be. I hope that they're not as bad as smoking, but in my mind they have the potential to be worse, you know? I don't know what they put into the stuff that you're vaporizing, but whatever they do to make it taste like a whole bunch of and smell like a whole bunch of different crazy shit. Can't imagine it's exactly good for your lungs, you know? And I would never do it. Of course, I don't smoke, you know, and I know it's hard for people, God, to quit smoking. I know it's got to be probably one of the hardest things to quit. You know, I really feel for people with that, and vaping should help you quit. I mean, that's what it was originally designed for, I believe. And for the people that it does help to quit cigarettes, I think that's great, and I really hope that it's not as damaging as cigarettes. But you know, my hope would be that people would use it as a way to quit, not just as a different way to smoke, you know, or in many cases just a way to smoke and then smoke some more, you know, because they still smoke cigarettes and in addition to their vaporization. So, you know, it's hard to say exactly. I don't know. I have friends who do it, and I know people that do it, and I think my dad still smokes regular cigarettes. And they're so bad. Gosh, I feel so bad for the people caught up in that. And they know that it's not good for them, but you know, what can they do? They're hopelessly addicted. It's a real shame. Yeah, addiction, man. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I have smoked a cigarette in my, well, not just one. I've had, I don't know. I haven't really kept track. It's not like I do it regularly. And I've had cigars. I've had a couple of those. Again, not like a regular sort of thing. Pretty seldom, if I'm honest. And I've never really gotten addicted. But then I've never really had access to it in a in a consistent way where I could do it like in a consistent manner. So maybe I did have like cravings for the next couple of days, but I was never able to act on them, and it was so inconsistent that I never got into it. And I don't plan on it, for God's sakes, no. I only did it out of curiosity, really. There's no really aching desire. Um, and none of my friends do it, so it's not like I was socially addicted. And I think that's how a lot of people get into it, you know, their friends do it. Or maybe they're stressed out and they need a way to relax. I think weed is probably better for stress than regular cigarettes, and probably a little less damaging too, because you don't have to do it as often, you know? I think the harm with cigarettes is doing it every single day for your entire life. Whereas with something with weed, even if you do it unfiltered, you know, maybe once a week, unless you follow Snoop Dogg's instructions and do it every day. Uh, but you know, that's excessive to me. I don't think there's much introspection to be gained if you're constantly high. Uh, so, you know, in moderation, all things in moderation. You know, you gotta be careful. Like any experience I've had with drugs or alcohol or anything, I've always been exceptionally careful when it comes to, you know, any kind of like pill that I would try out of curiosity, or any kind of anything. I'd always research it first. I'd look up recommended doses, and then I'd start with a very low dosage to see how it affects me, you know. And even then, you know, I get nervous thinking, like, as I start to feel the effects of something, I'll think, you know, I'll start to get nervous, honestly, with just about anything, and I'll say, like, oh God, is this gonna get like really intense? Am I gonna totally lose myself? Am I gonna get hurt? And I never have, never even come close, really. I've gotten pretty drunk before, but I've never passed out or anything. And I'm always careful. When you try something for the first time, you know, if anyone's listening and they need advice on drugs and stuff, first of all, yes, you may be curious from a young age, but I advise you to wait until you're older, because certain things can impede the, you know, it's much less effective. It affects adults' brains less than it affects kids' brains, and you know, you're more susceptible as a younger child to problems resulting from, you know, drinking or alcohol. Um, so it's best to wait. If you can't wait for whatever reason, do it in very small amounts to start. You know, and don't do it on a regular basis. Take your time between things. Don't make it a weekly occurrence. Make it, you know, very seldom. Make it that kind of makes it, you know, more of a special thing. And it should be. You know, you're experimenting with how your brain perceives reality. That's a big thing, really. It's kind of a big deal. And so treat it with the respect that it deserves, because you're putting things into your body that's fundamentally changing how you perceive the world. And that's a big deal. You know, you really need to realize the implications of that before you do anything. Second of all, do your goddamn research first. Make sure you understand doses and amounts. If you're drinking, like, you know, most people don't start with hard drugs, and please, for the love of God, don't. And really, my recommendation is don't ever do it unless you have, you know, supervision and it's safe and it's legal, you know, in some place where hard drugs are legal. Even then, I don't know. I think you should definitely do your research before you decide anything. But if you're starting with alcohol, start in exceptionally small amounts. Make sure you understand everything. Make sure you understand what proof means. You know, 80 proof, 40 proof, whatever. Make sure you understand that, because, you know, like vodka, which is like 80 proof generally speaking, is way stronger than beer, which is like 5% alcohol. Understand how much alcohol is in any one thing. Once you understand that, now here's an important distinction. You can start with a very small amount. Say you have one beer worth of alcohol, so maybe just one shot of vodka or whatever. It's going to affect you in... Ooh, that was bad. Anyway, it's going to affect you in a small amount. You know, you might not feel it very much, but take note of how you feel. That one shot of vodka made me feel this way. So I know that if I take 2 shots, I can expect to feel double of whatever I felt before. And that's generally a good rule. It doesn't always apply. You know, some things might be exacerbated faster, like certain effects won't always be exactly double. But you know, if you got sick after that one shot of vodka, expect to feel twice as sick if you do 2 shots. You know, and make sure you eat first, and you know, do your research, read up online, especially if you don't have friends to do it with who know what they're talking about. You know, you gotta be careful. It's important to treat your body respectfully and to not do stupid stuff. Just don't be a dumbass about it, and you'll be safe. You know, I think that the whole DARE program really doesn't help kids at all, because it just says no, 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 don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Well, of course they're not going to listen to that. You know what I mean? It's like kids invariably rebel against authority. That's just natural. It's natural to question society, to question authority, to question the status quo, to rebel. You know, that's just natural, and it's also natural to explore the whole concept of perception. You know, once you learn what drugs are, oh God. Once you know what drugs are and what they do to your body, you learn that they fundamentally change your perception of reality. That's intriguing. You know, that's interesting, because you've lived this way your whole life, and you want to think, what is it like to see things in a different way, to exist in a different way. Of course that's interesting. I mean, that's bloody fucking interesting. No wonder they're curious. And you're basically saying you're locking them out from that facet of life, that curiosity about perception. And you're saying, no, do not do this. It's dangerous. Here are a whole bunch of horror stories, and you're locking that part out for them at all. So they're still curious about it, but now they're scared. And then later on down the line, they have a friend who says, "Yeah, man, I did it. It's totally not a big deal." You know, and you're already skeptical of authority anyway, because you know you're a rebellious teenager. So then, you know, invariably you try some drugs with your friends, and you know it makes you feel crazy, and you love the way that it changes the world for you, and then you get addicted, and then you know a whole bunch of bad shit happens. Whereas instead of all that in DARE or in whatever educational program, and the same for sex ed really, instead of saying only abstinence, encourage, you know, safe sex practices, and teach kids that having sex is a big commitment, and ideally you should hold off until you you have a partner that you can trust, because you're sharing something special with that person with sex, you know. And I know that casual sex is a big thing in our society nowadays, and that's fine. But maybe a lot of that's because of the strict authority that's been put on the whole issue. You know, it's like when you tell somebody that it's totally off limits, they're going to want to explore it. That's just human nature. So instead of forcing the whole like lockdown on these things, where say no to drugs, say no to premarital sex, you know, encourage safe ways to do it, so when they invariably do, they don't hurt themselves. That's the thing that we should be encouraging. Just be careful. Treat your body with respect. Respect yourself. Respect the people that you're with. And, lead a good life. Drugs, they can be fun, but they shouldn't be the, regular perception should be the norm, I think. And drugs are good for having fun, they're good for elucidating certain things, but they're not the way that you should be living constantly. And you certainly shouldn't need them for happiness. Here's the thing. Addiction can take on many forms. There's actual chemical addiction, like nicotine, where your body's basically helpless. It demands this chemical. It's physically addicted to it, and you'll have withdrawal symptoms if you go without it. Then there are things that are psychologically addictive, where they're just so much fun that you don't want to give them up. Both are dangerous. Don't think that just because something says it's psychologically addictive doesn't mean that it's not potentially hazardous to your well-being. Here's the thing about happiness. Now, I believe in a certain level of spirituality, but I'm not going to talk about that here. I'm going to purely talk about the animal side of happiness, the physical, which is in our brains, dopamine receptors, and there may be other chemicals involved. I can't remember, but the basic principle of that is consider how that works. You basically have pumps and receptors that pump out chemicals to make you feel happy. What releases these chemicals? Eating, certain foods, satisfying cravings, having sex, obviously, is a big one. And why does that make us feel happy? Make us feel good? It's a survival mechanism, evolutionary wise. And it just makes sense if you think about it, because the people who desire sex the most have the most babies, and therefore the genetic trait that makes them desire sex is passed on to their offspring. And so there's a lot of people who desire that. I mean, it's just, it just makes common sense, really. So that's something to consider. Oh, fuck, there's so many guys here, man. There we go. Got the turret down. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. So you have mechanisms in your head that reward you for happiness, okay? Now, consider we are humans who are smart, and we've learned to trick our brains in certain ways, and use those survival mechanisms that are already there to our advantage or to our detriment in many cases. So places like fast food will artificially make their foods taste the way that makes your brain happy, so that you want to eat more of it. That's a marketing gimmick, and that's one of the darker sides of it. The drugs that we've found and have produced that do something similar release so much that really it's more than you would ever find in nature. Okay, so take an extreme example would be heroin. It releases so much dopamine and makes you feel so content and happy with the world that it is extremely psychologically addictive to where you want to do it more and more. There was this great thing I read about what it's like to be addicted to heroin. I can't speak from experience, of course, because I've never done it, and I never plan to. I'm trying to speak of the science side of it, as much as I know about it, at least. The problem with doing any kind of drug over consistently, say every weekend, you're like, oh, it's the weekend, it's time to party. I got my weed, or I got my coke, or if you have heroin, God help you. For real. That's terrible. And I really feel for those people who have gotten roped into that, because that's just horrible for them. Um, but my point is, you take it once and you feel amazing, and that makes you want to take it again. And when you take it again, it feels amazing, but it doesn't feel quite as amazing as the first time. And you wonder why. Maybe you've built up a tolerance to it. And what can happen is, if you abuse it too much, the actual receptors on your brain, I can't remember why exactly, they either, from overuse, get tired and, break down, or as a defensive mechanism, for whatever reason, they naturally start releasing less and less. Oh, excuse me. So you have less and less dopamine being released when you do these drugs. And the kicker is that it not only affects you when you're doing the drugs, but in real life too. So things that used to give you joy don't give you joy anymore. You don't feel happy relaxing with a good book and a cup of tea. The only way that you can feel close to happiness is with more drugs, with more heroin. You have to realize that the more you rely on something for your happiness, the less you'll be able to feel happiness in the real world from natural occurrences. That to me is awful. To be reliant on a drug just to feel happy, to feel normal. And for people suffering with depression, it's a similar thing. Their brains either don't produce the chemical, or for whatever reason it's lacking in their brain. They don't process it right. And they have to take antidepressants, and in that way they're relying on drugs. But I think it works in a different way. What I'm trying to do is apologize if I insulted any depressed people by saying it's horrible to be reliant on drugs to be happy, because some people's brains are just messed up from the start, and they have to have antidepressants. And of course, antidepressants work in a different way than heroin. They don't release, a fuck ton of endorphins all at once, and like with cocaine and stuff. So that's not what I meant to say, and I really apologize if I hurt your feelings with that. For people suffering with depression, gosh, it's such a terrible thing, and I really wish you the best, and I hope that you get all the help that you need, and seek out help from therapy, therapists, and know that there are solutions, and it's worth it to try to feel better. I know it's hard to. I don't know. This is purely sympathy, not empathy, on my part. But it's something I feel very strongly about. Because if I could have, one wish in the world, it'd be for everybody to be able to be happy. Because that's what it's all about. I think that we're here on this world to, not to just have fun, but to in certain respects, to have a good time, to enjoy life, to enjoy what life has to offer. And I think a lot of people don't get to do that, and in some cases it's their own fault, and in some cases it's because of genetic anomalies in the case of depression, or because of past circumstances in the cases of drug abuse. And that's really sad. Obviously, I don't mean to preach to the choir or anything. And my whole point, so going back to my main point, again, all the sympathy for anybody out there suffering, and please seek help and know that you're not alone. And people out there do care about you, including me. But my point was, relying on drugs to be happy, of any kind, including alcohol, fucks up your brain in that it makes you not able to feel happiness without it, eventually. So when it comes to drugs, do them in moderation, please. You know, use them to expand your mind, and occasionally it's fine to use them to have a good time, and they can really heighten a good time. But if you do that too often, you eventually won't be able to have a good time without them. And that's the only point I wanted to make with all that. So please be careful regarding your health and your happiness. Just take it slow, and do your research. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with wanting to expand your mind, certainly. But it's best to do it under in a good environment with people you trust, and with drugs that are from trusted sources, preferably legal ones. You know, places like the Netherlands have, you know, basically all drugs are legal there. So, you know, if you really want to experiment, wait until you're a bit older and take a trip there, and go with some friends, and you know, have a trip and really experience that side of your mind. I think that's important. I really do. And like I said, drugs can help, but you don't. I mean, you don't need drugs to do that. I also encourage you, if you're feeling like that, if you're curious, you know, take up meditation, do some, because you can change your perception just through thought exercises. Not in the way that drugs do, obviously, and it's not. There's no euphoria involved, and it's not, you know, it's like super fun or anything. But it can still be eye-opening. It's certainly worth doing, you know. Certainly, definitely. So I recommend that, meditation and stuff. Of course, you're always gonna be curious. I mean, fuck. When I was 14, I wanted pretty much nothing more than to find a way to get high, and I looked up all these crazy ways. You know, the nutmeg, doing the whole jankum thing where you shit into a bottle and then you like inhale the fumes. Never got that desperate, I'm happy to say. I did try the nutmeg thing, and it wasn't pleasant at all. I've done the poppy tea, I've done the fucking loads of stuff to try and alter my sense of reality. Because I never had any friends that knew where to get weed, or really I didn't have access to alcohol or anything, until I learned how to make it in my closet, but by then it was much too late. But yeah, there was no, I mean, I would watch like hypnosis videos on YouTube, like binaural stuff, and like sometimes I think that they were working just because I was so desperate, you know, it was like placebo. So believe me, I totally get it. You know, it's just natural to feel that curiosity. If I can persuade you to potentially wait, just put it out of your mind for a couple of years until you're an adult, until you have access to safe sources, and until it's potentially legal, like in March. I definitely encourage that, because the safer you are, the better, you know. And I know it's hard to wait. Fuck, I was so impatient when I was younger, in regards to almost everything. But it can be worth. It's definitely worth the wait. Not worth ruining your life potentially. And if you can't wait, please take necessary precautions. Don't get too out there. You know, you don't need to get blackout drunk. You can get a little bit of buzz, and that shows you just what it's like. You know, there's really no difference in enjoyment between being blackout drunk and having a decent tipsiness, you know. And spare your liver. Don't do it often, and don't get caught. Yeah. Well, anyway, some advice to the young folks. But ultimately, my advice is don't do drugs. or alcohol until you know that you're ready. I'm just trying to cover my base here. I don't want to get in trouble with the law by recommending that kids do drugs. That's not what I'm saying at all. And I hope that's not the context that you're taking from this, anybody who's listening. I'm just encouraging you to be safe, and I don't think that the way that we teach kids that currently is effective. Because just telling them no isn't going to work, you know. For some kids it might. Some kids are good and they obey authority. I wasn't like that personally. I didn't have a problem with authority, but I saw authority figures as separate entities. I didn't see them as human beings almost, and I didn't really listen to them. And I thought that I knew what was best for myself, and I think a lot of kids feel that way, even though it's not necessarily true. That's another thing. If I have any kids listening, you know, like high schoolers, I don't know why you're watching this, first of all. But I look back on my high school years, and I regret a lot of what I've done. Not terribly, just the way that the way that I acted and the things that I've done. They don't resonate with my current thinking. And it's totally not your fault as a teenager, because your body's going through changes, and hormones affect your brain just as much as they do your body. I personally feel like I have a much better grasp now that I'm 20 on my thoughts and my feelings and just the way that I think about the world than I did when I was younger, by a large amount. But the thing is, I thought that I had it all figured out for the most part. And I would here's the kicker. I would tell myself that I didn't have it figured out, but in the back of my mind, I thought that I really did, because I was saying, it's kind of ironic, really, because I was thinking, the wisest man knows that he knows not everything. So I was thinking like, oh, well, I must be the wisest man because I don't know everything. I don't have it all figured out. And I certainly don't now. But I try to be more... I wasn't very honest with myself, is what I'm trying to say. It's hard to be honest in this world, and it's even harder to be honest with yourself, I think. Because, we have ego, and in high school, especially, you worry so much about what people think about you just because it's natural for somebody that age. Again, going back to evolution, it's just, to be in a society of either Neanderthals, apes, or whatever, we have to be able to pick up on social cues and, societal expectations, etc. So, gosh, you have so much to deal with as a high schooler. If I could go back, right, and talk to my younger self, to sum it all up, and I'm not saying that you have to listen to this advice or anything by any means, and it's going to change based on who you are and what you've been through. I'm sure some people in high school do have it mostly figured out. They know who they are and what they want to be, and I think a lot of people don't. And it depends on the person, totally. So, take this advice if you want this advice, if you think that it applies to you. But if I could go back and change and give myself a piece of advice, the most important thing that I would tell myself is to be honest, be kind, and just be compassionate. And as long as you keep those things in your mind, you really can't do any wrong. That's really, in my mind, that's what it all comes down to. If you can be honest with yourself and with other people, and being honest with yourself is a big one. You know your limitations. Know know that you're a good person, and have good self-esteem, because being honest with yourself means accepting what you can't do and accepting who you are and learning to better yourself because of that. And having compassion for people. There will never be a time when you look back on your life and think, man, I wish I wasn't so nice, or I wish I wasn't so compassionate. You know, I can't imagine any circumstance where you would look back and regret being a good person. And I know it sounds sappy, but really, if I could go back, that's if I could impart that on my younger self, I totally would. Because I wasn't mean to anybody, but I wasn't nice either. I wasn't compassionate. I wish I could do it all again with the knowledge that I have now and just have a good time. Be nice, be friendly, have fun with people. Flirt and joke and just with anybody. It's all about your disposition. Even people that you don't like, try and get past that. Why don't you like them? And just let them be a person and be a person with them. We're all humans, and it's important that we all work together and just be happy with each other. It's like, I don't know. To me, that's the most important thing. At least that's how I feel right now. Yeah, if I could do it all again, I mean, I would. I was very quiet. I was very shy. And there's nothing wrong with being shy or quiet. I just wish I could go back and just be friendly. I wasn't friendly. I didn't, I had friends and I would laugh and joke with them, but for the most part, I just didn't interact with many people. I didn't flirt with girls. I didn't really go out of my way to make new friends. I think if you're nice and compassionate and you understand that people have their flaws and you have your flaws, and we're all just in this together in this crazy world, and we're all just trying to get through, I think that you'll look back on those days and realize that you spent them well. And of course you'll make mistakes, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody makes mistakes. Some are more costly than others, and a lot of that's due to luck, I'm afraid. And some people really screw themselves over just from complete accident, and those people definitely have my sympathy. But it's never too late to turn it around for yourself, and you can make a happy situation out of anything if you try. Happiness it's not our. Happiness shouldn't be dictated by our surrounding and our circumstances. I mean, it's easy to say when you live in a nice house and you have all the things that you could ever want, obviously. So maybe I'm not one to talk, but as far as looking back with regrets, if my advice can help alleviate that in somebody, then I think that's great. I can't tell it to my younger self, but I can at least put it out there on this YouTube channel. It might do something, maybe one day. So, and I just like talking about it out loud. It's kind of a way to vent, I guess. That being said, I don't want to give you the wrong impression. I don't have huge regrets or anything. My only wish is that I'd experienced life a little bit more. And I think to do that, you need to be open, compassionate, and just friendly with people. And that really opens a lot of doors. And you can have so much fun. I mean, I look back and I think about all the people that I not necessarily snubbed, but just didn't pay any mention to. And I wish I could just smile at them and make a joke or laugh along with them. Yeah. Just be friendly. Be friendly, honest, and true to yourself. What could be more important than that, you know? Not much, methinks. Well, fucking hell, I've been rambling for I don't know how long. Probably gonna cut the video once I reach the next point where I die, which could be on these spikes. No, not. But yeah. Well, that was good. I got a lot of talking done. I was kind of afraid I wouldn't have anything to talk about, but it turns out I had quite a lot. So that's great. I'm quite pleased with that. Quite pleased, yeah. I don't know. I guess I am kind of out of things to say. Man, I knew that I had something to say. You know, I've been thinking about it and wanting to record a video for a while. And I think that's just because I had these things on my mind and in my heart, and now I put them out there, and now it's good to go. Yeah. See, that's another reason I record these videos. You know, it's I mean that's precisely why, really. It gets it out of my mind and out of my heart, and it keeps a record of it so that I don't forget. And I can watch it back later, and I can be reminded of all of this. I think that's important, you know? I think that's really that's a healthy exercise. I think that's why people keep diaries. But, you know, this works just as well. And I don't like writing, really, so... I mean, I guess I could type up a diary, but... Ugh, I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me. You know, I kind of have these big thoughts, you know, I don't want to write about, like, my day-to-day shit, like, oh, this is what happened on Thursday, March 23rd, or whatever, you know, I just want to occasionally make a video and say the things that, really, I haven't been thinking about them consciously, but they must have been in the back of my mind somewhere. I like getting it all out there, and I like just talking and relaxing, playing a game, and talking out loud just helps me think too, you know? It's important. I think it is. It's kind of like a form of meditation, really. Yeah, well, I don't know. Oh, well that works. I was about to say, like, I might purposely kill myself just so I can wrap this up, but that guy did it for me. Well, alright, if you're still here and you... Whoa. I thought that was like... I thought that guy was naked for a second. Anyway. If for whatever reason you watch this all through and you're not myself, please contact me, because clearly we have a similar brain structure, and we should hang out. Play some games or something. Definitely. I find it unlikely that anybody will, but that's okay. I know that Sadie likes my videos. That's pretty cool. I don't know if she watches the really long ones with the shitty audio quality though. Oh well, anyway, I'm gonna stop recording here. Thanks, y'all. Oh, I'm choking on popcorn. Thank you for watching, if you did. It was really fun recording. I'll see you in the next one. Better stop recording audio. Aw, fuck.